Our next speaker, though, has been working diligently to prepare the next generation of student leaders across California. Michelle Kim is the current state president for the California Association of Student Councils, which provides leadership development for students through peer training opportunities. CASC also hosts the yearly SABE conference, where the student member of the California State Board of Education is elected by its student delegates. When she's not navigating statewide budget proposals or contacting assembly members' offices, Michelle enjoys attending disability rights affinity groups and frequenting her favorite boba shops. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Zaid, and hello, everyone. I know today's a weekday morning and maybe y'all are a little bit tired, but hopefully this presentation will be engaging for you. So youth involvement in education, you've heard a lot about how to get involved in your community, but this in specific is how to get involved in the education system. So that's me, she, her pronouns, and I am the state president, which means that I kind of oversee all the things that happen within CASC. And again, yeah, these are things that I think would be really important. So if you want to take notes, if you see anything with this pencil symbol, that means I think it's especially important. Okay, so what is CASC? So it's not CASC, it's CASC, and it's the California Association of Student Councils. Essentially, we were founded in 1947 by the California Department of Education and the Association of California School Administrators, or ACSA, which all of your school administrators are a part of, which is really cool. We have direct links to government organizations like the CDE and huge organizations like ACSA that allow us to do a lot of stuff. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We focus mainly on two things: leadership development and civic engagement. Civic engagement has a lot of parts, whether it be legislative proposals, policy proposals, advocating for different kinds of policies at the statewide level, at the local level. We do a lot of that stuff. And we strive to enhance the quality of education by involving students, because that's what the education system really is built for, students. And if there was one thing I would say about CASC that's most important, I would say that we're an advocate for youth, by youth. So everything that you see, all the conferences and things like that, are majorly run by students. The only part where adults are involved is where it's legally or financially necessary. And every conference, everything like internally is 100% planned by California high school students like myself. I'm a senior, I live in Orange County. All right, so conferences. This is the main way that we get involved with our students. Like Zaid said, we elect the student board member on the State Board of Education, which Zaid was, at the Student Advisory Board on Education. That's where he and I first met. We also have its sister conference, the Student Advisory Board on Legislation and Education. Those two sound very similar. That's because they are in structure. So SABE, or the first one, that's where we do policy proposals and we present to the State Board of Education. SABLE is where we do legislative proposals and we present to the Joint Committee on Education for the Senate and the Assembly. So they are pretty similar in structure, but different in content. And if you want to learn more about what's the difference between policy and legislation, you can either come to me tomorrow or you can actually come to one of our conferences. Another in-year conference is the Youth Action Summit of California. That's where you elect the next state president and the state vice president for the next year. And that's also where you develop community projects with different people who are super experienced in all of these different aspects of social justice. Like in the past, we've had mental health professionals come in, people for clean water come in, people for education equity come in. And it's really cool. You get to meet with students all over. That's me and my group last year at YASC. And this is held in LA, while these two up here are held in Sacramento usually. Also, summer camp. We have a summer camp. It's also really fun, and I highly recommend, if there is anything that I highly recommend out of these conferences, it would be SABE and summer camp, because those two are the most near in terms of dates. And we also have our region conferences, which are smaller one-day conferences that are only held for that specific region. I'll talk a little bit more about what regions are later. But those are just smaller conferences hosted by our region presidents. Okay, so why us? You've been hearing so many presentations about all of these amazing organizations to choose, but we're not like the others. We are special. So first of all, we're extremely cool because I'm in it and also Zaid is in it. That's us. This is us at Save or Sable. I forget which one. But we were doing minority representation. That's why we have the M. Yeah, it was really cool. But also, you can do a lot of things specifically and uniquely through CASC. Jeff is actually a CASC alumni, and I'm pretty sure he got so much of how great he is and how smart he is from CASC. You can connect with students across the state and education professionals. Of course, we have a lot of connections to, like I said, school administrators and teachers and different people from all over. Like lobbyists and people like that. You can learn so much about the education system and the government, which is kind of what you guys are all here for. But you get to do it with a hands-on approach, which I feel is very different. It's a lot better to experience it by changing the system. It's great to learn from what you guys are doing here as well, but it's even more exciting to do it by yourself. Be at the forefront of revolutionary initiatives. So we actually pass bills, legislation, and policy from those conferences that I just talked about. So we do a lot of cool things. Like I would be wasting time if I were just to like talk about everything that we've done. We've done so many, but we passed bills, I would say on average, like a couple. Yeah, it really depends on the legislative season, but we passed like one or two last year, and more are in progress. So it's really cool. And this is all started by students, high school students. So it is really cool. Okay, you can also make lifelong friends. Me and Zaid are besties, and you can have firsthand experience in leadership because that's another part of our organization's goals is to foster ethical and empathetic leaders. Okay, and if there's one thing that I think is really important, I would say education system and government. That's why you guys are all here. I'm guessing that's what you're interested in, but taking that hands-on approach changed my life. Okay, getting involved. So, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I want to join. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Yeah, that's all that's left, and this is how to join. You can contact me. I'm very nice, and I will reply quick. Or you can contact your region president to join region cabinet. So California, under CASC is split up into 12 regions. I'll share a little bit more about that on the next slide. But if I believe region cabinet applications are still rolling. If you don't know what region cabinet is, which I'm pretty sure none of you do, I highly recommend for you to come to me tomorrow and I will answer any and all questions. I'll explain a little bit more about what that is, but essentially it's local division of CASC, grassroots, like kind of activism and things like that. You can also attend our conferences. I highly recommend summer camp again, CASC.net/summer. And you can start or join CASC clubs at school if you already know about them. So this is our website, www.casc.net. But okay, do not write anything down. Just take a picture. It's too much to write down. So these are our 12 region presidents. If you're in region A, just contact me. And if you want to find your region, go to www.casc.net/regions. Okay, just take a picture. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Hopefully you guys can take a picture or a screenshot or whatever. And don't worry if you forget, then you can just contact me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So that is all for my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope y'all had a fun time, an educational time, and you can always contact me. This is my phone number, my email, and my Instagram. If you guys want to contact me, please just like text me or email me with what you need, because sometimes like I get like different kinds of texts like from my friends and I don't know y'all will become my friends, but I don't know like what's going on if you just say hi. So please just tell me you're from the Ed100 conference and I will hook you up with all the good information. Yes, going back to Zaid.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle, for that super passionate CASC pitch. I love CASC. Shout out to CASC. And we do have some questions for you. And so the first question is, what do you think makes CASC so much more different and so much more, I guess, impactful than some of the other student leadership education organizations?
We are so special. We are the most special in the entire state. So other than it having me, no other organization has that, by the way. It's just me. Other than that, we are pretty much the representative leadership organization in California. We there's other huge leadership organizations, but we're the only one that has direct connections and history with the government and the education system. So it's kind of like all these other places are not outsiders, but they're kind of like people who are coming to someone who they don't have that much history with, or they don't have a direct connection with. But us, we just go to the superintendent. We're like, hey, we're homies. We want to present something to you. And we always 100% get a private session with both the State Board of Education and the State Joint Committee on Education. That is pretty hard to get, y'all. So that is one thing that's special.
Yeah, really quickly to just kind of throw this out there, CASC back in the 60s got the student member position on the California State Board of Education with the CDE. They kind of worked in tandem to make that happen. So CASC has been doing a lot of important stuff since then. And yeah, as Michelle was saying, students who join CASC have the opportunity to speak in front of the California State Board of Education and the Senate and Assembly Committees on Education if they attend one of the 2 in-year conferences. Another question that's kind of being asked in the chat is just like, how does CASC work? For example, like how do you apply to be a member, or do you have to like hold like a student board member position like CSBMA or?
So CASC is pretty much for any high schooler that is in California and lives in California, goes to school in California. It doesn't matter if you're in a public school, charter school, private school, we work with all of them. I would even say we work with middle schoolers and elementary schoolers as well. We're just mainly at the high school level, but we do a lot of stuff in middle and elementary as well, because that is all part of our education system. And you don't have to like apply to be a member. Anyone can come to our conferences, and you will see on the website that we do have a fee. That's because it does cost a lot to be like a huge organization like us. But 100% scholarships are given to anyone who needs them. 100% of demonstrated need is met, and everyone who asks for a scholarship is given one if they are like qualified financially. We do a need-based scholarship program.
Awesome. That's so awesome to hear. I'm not sure if we have any other questions. You answered my next question, which is how much would CASC cost, or attending a CASC conference cost? But this has honestly been so amazing, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us. And we always have more questions. And so if we see any questions, we will forward them over to you and get them connected to you. But it's been so awesome. Thank you so much for joining us and for pitching CASC.
See y'all tomorrow, right? Because y'all love CASC. We are CASC buddies now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle.